So all those ladies and gentlemen, the lovely ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, the pre-show has started, and now I have to do the test. So I have to put in my little mini earphones.
Natural testing system.
Can one of you guys count to 10?
1, 2,
10.
3,
1,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have audio, unlike
Yay.
last week.
Woo.
Okay, so watch the timer at the beginning of the screen, and then I will. Are you both ready to start?
Absolutely.
Ready.
Okay, watch the timer. When it says officially on the air, you're on the air.
Welcome, one and all, to another edition of Fair Catch. That is Russ over in the mansion called Saberland, or New Highmark Stadium. I think I'd rather be in the New Highmark Stadium.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. So those are for you that weren't good lip readers last week. We'll fill you in what we were sort of talking about. Mainly it was about the Bills' offense, which we can both agree that we're not too worried about the Bills' offense, so to speak, in that. Because you got Josh Allen, you got James Cook, and hopefully DJ Moore helps our receiving core out a bit.
Right. No, that's pretty much the gist of the whole thing is what can DJ Moore do for Josh Allen? Can he duplicate what Stephon Diggs did for those 3-4 years when he was just at the top of the league? And then after that, then it's like Dalton Kincaid at the tight end position. Can he stay healthy? Mm-hmm. So I mean that's a huge thing as well. And and then of course you have James Cook. So and the offensive line is a huge part of it. Bringing back Connor McGovern was big, but now it's the guard spot next to him, where it's Alec Anderson, Austin Corbett, and Nick Brecker, who was a draft pick back in I think he was a draft pick, but then came back to the Bills. But he was with San Francisco last year.
Yeah.
So, that's the big thing as far as the offensive line goes. That and returning 4 starters. So I'm not too concerned about the offense per se. Maybe depth could be a bit of a concern, because after DJ Moore and Khalil Shakir. And Joshua Palmer's it looks like he's listed as a third wide receiver. So they need a big year out of him, or they need him to show up for all 17 games if he can. And then you have rookie Skylar Bell, and then Keon Coleman. So the next three after Palmer, DJ Moore, and Khalil Shakir. I'm not saying it's shaky, but Skylar Bell's unproven. Keon Coleman's is still unproven, going into a make or break third year. So then you have Macaulay Hardman and Terrell Shavers, who was doing pretty well up until the point where he got hurt, and we'll have to see if he can come back from his knee injury. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned about it. I think depth is more of a question than not.
Yeah, like I said last week, I'm definitely looking for Skylar Bell to do things, and I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the season that he's the number 3 receiver. And I mean, the only guy that he needs to really prove himself this year definitely is Keon Coleman. So he was questioned during the offseason, obviously. So that's the biggest question mark on is what can Keon Coleman really do? Can he behave himself? Can he step up? That's the biggest question.
Well, it's not so much of him behaving himself, because he hasn't gotten really into trouble off the field. It is maturity issues as far as like showing up to meetings on time, the playbook, stuff of that nature. Which, when you draft a kid that's 20 years old and give him a whole lot of money and a lot of responsibility, does he know how to handle it? And thus far, he didn't know how to handle it initially. Now we have to see what he does now, because all reports that are being put out there are positive. Because it's not the end all be all, because he has to prove it on the field.
Yeah, what I heard, Joe Brady loves the guy, and there's no offense. He really kind of put his fist on the table and said, let's draft him. He could work with him. So I think with the benefit that benefits Keon Coleman in a way.
No, it definitely does, because if they would have brought in, say, the Kubiak, he might have just said, "No, let's get rid of him." But and it kind of lends to the question, the relationship with Sean McDermott. So I mean, we're going to see whether we're going to see a new an offense that is more tailored to more of a passing game, or keep it more geared toward the running game, which has saved Josh Allen from taking hits, or is it going to be somewhere in the middle? I mean, we will have to wait and see. But Keon Coleman, and I always go back to the first game of the year last year against the Baltimore Ravens, where he lit them up. He had 8 or 9 catches, over 100 yards, almost had the game-winning touchdown. But it's how did it go from that to the way it ended? I'm still baffled about that. But
yeah,
he's got another chance, fresh slate, with a new old coach, new as a head coach, but the coach knows him from what he's done with the team over the past couple of years. So, but here's hoping that he can put together a solid season. If he can do that, then that solves a lot of that could solve an issue. That will definitely solve an issue with the wide receiving core, giving Josh Allen another reliable target.
Yeah, so we'll only see. But the biggest question, what we're going to be talking about, is the defense. New coordinator, a new defensive scheme. Basically a lot of it is unfamiliarity with our, as we start off with the defensive tackles, because with the biggest question marks is pretty much Landon Jackson and Deion Walker, because those two got hurt. And TJ Sanders showed he has versatility. We know how Ed Oliver is, but it's them two that I'm questioning.
Now, I don't have any questions about Deion Walker. I think Deion Walker was an absolute monster last year. Depending on what kind of a role they're going to ask him to play in the newer defense, we will have to wait and see. But he's gigantic. He's like 6'6". He's like 6'6", 325 pounds. So he fits the bill as far as size for the defense. I think Ed Oliver could have a huge season because he is a penetrating defensive tackle. Yeah, he's one of those guys again that has had trouble staying healthy. TJ Sanders he's kind of like a wild card in this whole thing because right now they have him listed as a right defensive end along with Landon Jackson, but Landon Jackson is going to be moving around. And from what I read, is that the scheme is a lot like what he played in college. So where he moved around a lot, and he was just able to be the game wrecker. So I'm actually looking for some big things from Landon Jackson. Him being a 3rd round pick last year. And sometimes it takes a couple of years, but he got hurt. So hopefully he can come back and really let loose. If he can contribute like 7-8 sacks this year, I would be jumping for joy. And of course, probably the most curious thing going into training camp is Travis Clayton, as he was an offensive lineman, now switching over to defensive lineman. He's being called a physical freak. You're just an athletic freak. So he's 6'7", 303 pounds. So we will have to wait and see how that works out. But I would say he is the curious question going into a training camp.
Yeah, then you have Gregory Russo. He's going from like a basically hand on the ground to defensive end to stand up, basically almost like a outside linebacker in a way. So it'll be interesting how quickly he can get off the ball. Maybe it might help him out. I mean, we do know he's got great size. He's a tree trunk, for crying out loud. I mean, he puts his hands up. Good luck getting it over you. And that.
Well, his nickname is Groot. So for Guardians of the Galaxy fans out there, yes, his wingspan is like from one end of the room to the other. Literally, I mean, he's
Armstrong.
Oh my God! But yeah, can he drop into coverage is the question. And then you also have T.J. Parker, a 2nd round pick, their first pick in this last draft. So I mean, yeah, definitely. I would call Gregory Russo one of the big questions going into training camp, whether he can adjust to the new scheme as well. And yeah, I mean, and I had heard a great quote. I can't remember who said it. My apologies. Don't sue me. Cuts, the cuts that will be made, maybe some, maybe based on scheme fit.
Yeah.
So that could very well be as well. So I mean, I don't expect Russo to be cut because they just signed him to a contract last year. So so camp implications could be a factor, but guys like Terrell Bernard, possibly. Yeah. I mean,
I think with Terrell Bernard, I think this defense kind of works for him because I didn't like him in the middle as middle linebacker, but he's great at coverage, I thought. And I think he'd be better off as an outside linebacker than that. But again, we'll see what they'll do with him. That's for sure.
I mean, again, another guy that can't stay on the field. The guy to look out for on the linebacking core is Caleb Elarms Orr, who's behind. Who's behind Dorian Williams right now. So Dorian Williams could be a casualty. You never know. But he's a third round pick from 2023. But there's a lot of people that love Caleb Elarms, or KEO as I would like to call him. But there's a lot of people that love him. So. But I think what I'm really looking forward to is the secondary draft picks like Toriano Pride Jr., Jalen Kilgore, and Davison Ig. I'm going to butcher that.
I can't do it the same thing. Butcher that. Egbenosen.
Yeah, well,
something like.
Bless you. But yeah. Davison Igbenosen. But so the second, because the biggest takeaway that a lot of people came back with to the loss against the Broncos was when the injuries hit the secondary and Dane Jackson was forced to play. Bo Nix was just looking for whomever the replacement was and just attacking them. So so definitely they had to. So they addressed the secondary. How quick can those guys adjust to the program? As of right now, you have Christian Benford as one corner and Max Hairston as the other one. Loads of speed. Can he adjust to the new scheme? Again, he's a question. And then of course you have a Cole Bishop who's coming off a solid season. So and then CJ.
He's got CJ Gardner Johnson on the other side of him, which that would be a big plus. I mean, you look how Bishop did with the help of Jordan Poyer last year. I mean, I think that was a great help for him because you saw that Jordan Poyer was really coaching up Cole Bishop in a way, and that helped out Cole Bishop a lot. Yeah,
and who knows? You might even see Jordan Poyer back. You never know. But yeah, I mean, Cole Bishop really came into his own last year, which was needed. That was absolutely needed. So so the defense, there's a lot of question marks. Not necessarily with the players per se, but the scheme and the fit and whatnot. And another guy, I'll tell you another guy who the two other players that I'm looking forward to seeing in this scheme are Michael Hoyt and Javon Solomon. Because Michael Hoyt came back and was an absolute monster for the game and a half that he played. Too bad that we couldn't get more out of him, but if he can come back and it shows something like that, that'll be huge. And Javon Solomon is another guy, fifth round pick in 2024. That again, if they could, he might be a casualty. He's still on his rookie deal though, but he's a guy that I would like to see come forward. And the pass rush is the biggest thing for me. Because, again, you go back to the playoffs and whatnot, and then the loss to the Broncos. They had one sack against the Broncos, and who had that sack? It was Gregory Rousseau. So they have to find a way. They have to find a way to get more pressure on the quarterback, whether it be from the edge rushers, from the inside, somewhere. Because they're going to be blitzing. They're going to be blitzing pretty heavy. So. I mean, they have to find a way to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen with the Broncos defense. I mean, they had pretty much a lot of sacks, which that's where again where Jim Leonard is coming from. You know, they really like pressured the quarterback as much as they did, and you know, another guy that you didn't mention that could be a casualty is DeMar Hamlin because there's so many safeties that we have, and you know, plus, I mean, let's say if Hancock is a better special teams player than Hamlin, then pretty much Hamlin might be 1 foot out the door.
Yeah, Jordan Hancock right now is listed as a nickelback in this scheme, which, you know, he could be one of those guys that could bounce back and forth between nickelback and safety because he has some experience at as safety. But again, you look at the draft pick of Jalen Kilgore. He's listed behind C.J. Gardner-Johnson right now. I'm on the Our Lads guide for on the depth chart, by the way. If people think I'm crazy, which they're not far off anyway. But so and right behind Jalen Kilgore is DeMar Hamlin. So, yeah, I'm looking for. I mean, we will have to see because right now Geno Stone has the safety spot behind Cole Bishop according to this. So Geno Stone, he was with Cincinnati. Hopefully he's a scheme fit because I really didn't like that signing all that much, but we will have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There may be a lot of shifting and whatnot. You know, like from especially on the defensive line and whatnot. So, I mean, a lot of this is guessing. A lot of this is wait and see. A guy that I'm looking for to maybe not make the squad is Dwayne Carter, third round pick in 2024. He may have been just starting to come around, and then he tore his Achilles. And then behind him is Fedarian Mathis, free agent from San Francisco a couple years ago. I read a couple places where he may be getting a push to get playing time. So again, a lot of shuffling and some faces that we may know and be familiar with that may not make the squad this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see like a little bit of a 50-50 where we're going to still keep some players that are on defense, but we're going to probably see like basically a youth movement, people that are comfortable with this, like you said, really, it'll come down to who fits the scheme better, you know, and I think this year, yes, it'll be maybe difficult to see the defense struggle, but I think each year it'll probably be better because of the fact that.
Well, I think the defense is going to struggle. Maybe that's just me, but anytime you have a scheme change like this, I can definitely see the defense struggling through the preseason, maybe for the first few weeks of the regular season until maybe they find themselves. But that's what training camp is for, is to work out those bugs and whatnot. But again, I mean, a guy like Gregory Rousseau, does he really fit the scheme? I don't think so. But he's such a great athlete, and his wingspan is like, he's Groot. I mean, honestly, you stand him in your kitchen, one side to the other. And he's
feeling though.
Well, hey, you pay the price for being 6'6", 6'7". That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, I definitely I'm very interested in seeing like how he's going to adapt. And of course, we have the new signing from Miami, Bradley Chubb, who hopefully can put a charge into the pass rush. Maybe get him like 10 sacks. I'd like to see that. But yeah, I mean, It's going to be kind of crazy to see some of the shifting and players playing in positions that you're like, not sure he fits that, but and Gregory Rousseau is probably the number one guy, and TJ Sanders as well, who played mostly inside in college and with the Bills, but I believe I read where he did play some outside in college as well, but I'm looking back. He's a second round pick last year, so they need to get something out of him.
Yeah. And I mean, Michael Hoyt was doing a pretty good job until he tore his Achilles. So if he can't, and then hopefully once he's, and we know how versatile he is. I heard he played safety with the Rams, but he could play defensive end, linebacker, you name it. You could put Michael Hoyt anywhere.
Oh, he's a really good athlete. But again, you're coming back from a torn Achilles. That's a rough one. That is a rough injury to come back from. But again, positive reports are coming out that he's doing well in his recovery. So, hopefully they can. Hopefully he can come back and contribute maybe 8 to 10 sacks this year. That would be great. But yeah, I mean, so much of this is just coming. How well can they come together and mesh? Yeah. And I'll give you a name to watch out for. The 5th round pick, Zane Durant out of Penn State. He's more along the line, the size wise, he's more along the lines of Ed Oliver, but he is a game wrecker. Picked in the 5th round, and one of the reasons why he fell to the 5th round is because he's like 6'1". And 285, 290. So he's along the lines of an Ed Oliver, but he has great penetration when he plays. So hopefully they can get him. Maybe he can make an impact. You never know, but he's definitely a rookie to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, it basically sounds like a youth movement on the defense, basically. I mean, and that, like, I mean, obviously Maxwell Harrison coming into his second year, and that was a mistake that I thought, like, maybe Sean McDermott made, putting Maxwell Harrison in the final game, which was meaningless for, obviously, standing wise, and people were questioning that because he got hurt that game. But he was a rookie. You got to learn you still got to learn. I think in a way, having to defend Sean McDermott.
Yes and no. I mean, given the status of the game, where the game was at the time, they could have taken somebody else and put them in at cornerback, and the Broncos game may have ended differently, But I'm really looking forward to seeing what Max Harrison can do. He's got the speed. There's no doubt about that. He was one of the fastest players in last year's draft and was able to keep up with Xavier Worthy from the Chiefs. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. And I wouldn't rule out the Bills signing somebody because they do have some money under the cap. They do have, according to Over the Cap, according to the Over the Cap website, they have $9.6 million left under the cap. So they can go out and sign a player, depending. But I think they want to see how this works, and they can also work a trade. I mean, this could be the year you could see them take a guy or two that doesn't fit the scheme, trade them for either a draft asset or an experienced player that does fit the scheme, or even sign a free agent. So I'm not ruling that out, but I think they want to see what they have first.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like you said, training camp. We got training camp and then preseason, obviously. But I don't think that they're really going to show much on defense. I think they're going to really play vanilla. That's what they do in preseason, play vanilla. But and it's all, But I think you're right. They're going to have to sign maybe a cornerback, another cornerback to really that has experience. Because, like I said, it's a very young defensive backfield, except for Christian Benford.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, Bishop Cole is young, but he's been in the league now a few years. So, and he's been through a playoff run. So I'm not saying he's not a veteran or anything like that, but he's not exactly young either. So, but having C.J. Gardner-Johnson on the team is definitely helpful. But I mean, we're definitely going to see whether they show things in the preseason or not. Well, I mean, we'll have to see, but you have to play a certain way to at least find out if guys actually fit, and that'll be, and a lot of the judgment is going to be made through the practices that we're not going to see.
Yeah, or what they're going to see probably at the blue and red scrimmage, a little bit of it, obviously.
Sure.
But it's going to probably be week 1 through 4 what we're really going to see.
Week 1 through 4, that's going to be like the telltale of where of what the starting point is. Because, like you said, they're not going to show anything really in preseason. So starting on week 1, and then maybe going through week 4, that's where your bumps in the road are probably going to come into play.
Yeah, they're playing some really good quarterbacks in these first 5 weeks. I mean, we're playing C.J. Stroud if he comes back to form. Obviously, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, and Drake May, and I believe it's week 5. I think it's the Rams, so that's be Stafford. But But I know we're playing some good quarterbacks right at the beginning, right off the bat. So that's going to be the telltale.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking. Let's see here. September 13th, the Texans. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about C.J. Stroud anymore, though, man. C.J. Stroud is, he can be good, but he can be equally as bad some games. So Texans, I mean, they'll have to. I mean, that's a wait and see on the Texans side. But but like you said, I mean, they do play Jared Goff. They have a great offense with him and Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then you go to the Chargers. So I mean the Chargers. Herbert is a good quarterback. Hasn't reached that potential yet, but I guess we'll have to wait and see and that's a pretty solid. That's a pretty solid offensive team. Omarion Hampton, their first-round pick last year, running back. Watch out for him because he's going to be something in this league. And then, of course, we have the dreaded Patriots and Drake May.
Maybe Drake May falls off the cliff now and comes back down to reality.
Well, he's got a tougher schedule for sure. I mean, we know that. So what that means, we don't know.
But we know the next game is going to be the brutal one. That's going to be the toughest one. That's definitely the Rams.
Yeah, they're trying to get Aaron Donald is thinking about coming back. That'll be interesting to see if he does. But
he's working out. So
yeah, but that is a loaded team. But that is a definite loaded team for sure.
Offensively and defensively.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I mean, if you're looking for a Super Bowl favorite, that's probably your team right there.
And then don't forget we play with
yeah,
Lamar Jackson.
yeah, and then
So,
then they play like the Raiders, the Raiders and the Ravens, and then the Vikings and the Jets. So they have a stretch there and the Dolphins. So it's not. So there's the beginning of the season is kind of rough. I mean, I think they'll beat the Lions and the Chargers, and I do think they'll beat the Patriots. So I'm not totally worried, but it's the defense that you hope can can hit the ground running. If they can do that, they can take 3 of the first 4 and then maybe go on a run.
Yeah, it's really during the end of the season, which is going to be rough schedule. You got the Chiefs, obviously on Thanksgiving night, Patriots, Packers, the Bears, and the Broncos. So it's really that's the stretch that is going to be the very telltale sign too, because you obviously might have 100% Mahomes. You obviously got Jordan Love and Caleb Williams, who's thriving in Ben Johnson's offense, and then obviously Bo Nick.
In all honesty, they should be able to sweep both the Dolphins and the Jets. Split with the Patriots, that's 5-1, and then you got to find like 6 and 7 victories the rest of the season. So, in the Broncos game on Christmas Day, of all days, Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. Okay,
both holidays.
Yeah, well, really, you don't play on Christmas, but here we go. I think
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think they can beat the Bears. They may lose to the Broncos. Maybe lose to the Patriots at New England. I think they can beat the Packers. The Chiefs game is here on Thanksgiving, which is something. I think they can beat the Chiefs here.
Well, we beat them there, but it's only the regular season. Remember,
right? And games like that against Patrick Mahomes. That's where the defense. That's where another reason why you changed up the defense. You beat the Chiefs in the regular season on a regular basis, but you can't beat them in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And it's, something's got to give. So again, I like that. I don't think the schedule's tough, but I think they have enough to get 11 wins.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be difficult to beat the Packers because the Bills never won in Lambeau Field. Don't forget. I mean, we could beat Green Bay here, but they struggle in Lambeau Field. The only win that the Bills had was in actually Milwaukee or Madison, one or the other.
Listen, it's in the area. It's in the area. It's around that general vicinity.
But it's not in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Oh my God! But the Packers, I'll tell you what, the Packers, they have. I mean, if Micah Parsons can stay healthy, they could be monstrous in the NFC. Yeah. But again, him and Jordan Love being inconsistent like he is sometimes. And of course, they have Matthew Golden, last year's first-round pick. He's due for a breakout season. But the other wideout, Christian Watson, who signed a big deal this year, he can't stay on the field. Your best ability is your availability, and that's the main thing with a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like when next month we'll pretty much do a prediction of who wins the divisions and whatnot, probably near the end of the preseason. I mean, it's again, the defense is going to be tested this year because of the fact of how many good quarterbacks that they're playing this year. I mean,
I'll tell you what, the quarterback scene in the AFC is so it really in general in the NFL and in the NFL is really good. I mean, you have some quarterbacks like C.J. Stroud who have been inconsistent, but Jared Goff has been. Jared Goff's been solid. Drake May broke through last year, although schedule, but you still have to play the games and whatnot. Yeah. So
they say any given Sunday.
Oh yeah, and then of course the Raiders are an interesting team because they have Fernando Mendoza, but he's going to take a backseat to Kirk Cousins at the beginning of the season. So yeah. And then the Vikings are really interesting because you got J.J. McCarthy and you have the little guy.
Mighty Mouse. I call him Mighty Mouse. But, I mean, who knows who's going to be starting that game. But, I mean, they have weapons. Justin Jefferson, Addison, you name it. They have weapons on that offense, so whoever. But J.J. McCarthy was struggling a little bit last year, but he did get better near the end of the season. Not going to really, hopefully that works out for them.
Well, but you know what? You never know. I mean, Kyler Murray had great games for Arizona. He really did. But he just couldn't get over the hump. He couldn't do it. So, and he had talent there too. He had Trey McBride, Michael Wilson as a receiver. Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't pan out as of yet. But, he had some people to throw to, and he was throwing to DeAndre Hopkins for years. So you have Justin Jefferson as a weapon for sure. We'll have to wait and see how that helps them if it does. I mean, one of the knocks against him was that he was too busy playing video games. Oops. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to. I'm thinking Kyler Murray's going to be the starter.
That's how he was studying the playbook, Murray. You play Madden and
you play Madden.
Play himself, and he's like, "Oh man, I can get to the Super Bowl." Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So there was a signing in the NHL.
Yeah.
His name is Patrick, and last name is Kane. I think Chicago paid him a little too much.
They played a lot too much. Too much. I mean, you're thinking, he was long rumored to be going to the Sabres, and you're thinking now the Sabres have roughly $5 million under the cap, a little over that, $5.1 million. So you're thinking maybe a deal in the $4 million range, maybe $5 million range. I saw he signed it. I'm like, okay, what did he sign for? And it was 2 years, $16 million, $8 million a year.
30.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I'm glad Yarmo didn't do it. I am glad that Yarmo didn't do it. I look at it as a positive because you got that young talent like Oslin and your Hellenust and they looked pretty good in the playoffs. I mean, the only question is we're still waiting on this Connor Hellebuck saga to come to fruition. I mean, I'm not liking the fact that Winnipeg's playing a little too many games.
Well, it's a game. It's a big game. Yarmo's been through it before, so it's like, all right, and one of the rumors going around was that during the draft, one of the players that the Jets wanted was Zach Benson. That ain't happening. So now you look at Patrick Kane. as a way of looking to help replace Alex Tuck, who had 33 goals, 33 assists for 66 points. So that's a lot of production that you have to replace. And Patrick Kane last year had 16 goals, 41 assists, 57 points, 2 goals on the power play, but 17 assists as well. But you're talking about a guy that if he would have signed here, he would have been mainly for the power play, which I'm all for. But
yeah,
I just something about it I just didn't like, and I'm glad he didn't sign here, because usually players that come home, for whatever reason, sometimes it just doesn't work out, and the Sabres can't afford that. And now with him, especially with the track record he has in the city of Buffalo, I'm thinking it's a good idea that he didn't sign here. Mm-hmm. So go back to Chicago, finish out your career, and then call it and then call it a day. But $8 million.
He could help out. Yeah, and he could help out Connor Bedard. He would he'll be like a mentor, basically. Obviously, but we also know that Chicago's got a couple talented players, former Sabres. And by the way, our home opener is against Chicago, where we're going to see Bo Byram, Greenway, and now Patrick Kane. So.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll get to see him up close and personal. But I'm glad. I mean, if you had to ask me right now, I'm glad that they didn't sign him, because at his age, there's no way they could have matched that money. Because right now the Blackhawks only have like a little over $2 million in cap space, and they're supposed to be a rebuilding team. Yeah. So I question that one. So, and the Sabres still have a little over $5 million, as I mentioned earlier. So they can sign a player, or if they still want Hellebuck, they're going to have to move a piece.
Yeah.
Got to be UPL, because you can't have a 4 goaltender rotation. That would be ridiculous and stupid. But you have to be able to move a piece, and who do the Sabres move? I think that's becoming the big question, because they just signed Peyton Krebs to $4.5 million.
Yeah, and by the way, Josh Stone bought a house in Clarence, so if you want to be his next door neighbor, you gotta move to Clarence. But
I'll drive by it one of these days and go, yo, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a guy who could be moved. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I would like it, is Jason Zucker, who's going into the last year of his contract. But he scored 24 goals last year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So but again, this is the last year of his contract. He's going to be a UFA at the age of 34, going on 35. I mean, that's a tough one, because he's a good player for this squad. And so you're looking at moving UPL, possibly Zucker, possibly McLeod, but McLeod's name is still out there. And then you have Jack Quinn, who's coming into the last year of his contract. He's going to be an RFA next year. He's making $3.375 million. So he could, depending on the season that he has, he could be looking at, if they don't sign him by the time he hits RFA status, he could be a definite offer sheet candidate next year. And we saw what happened to Philadelphia. What happened with that monstrous offer sheet that they matched. So they're paying a kid $18 million a year who hasn't accomplished anything. And the thing is, Philadelphia still has over $13 million left in cap space. So they're not doing that bad, but still, that's going to have ramifications down the road. But it's like, to make a big move right now, the Sabres seem like that they have to move somebody. Who do you move? That's the question.
And then don't forget, we have Yuri Kolik, that he's coming he's coming back from a blood clot, obviously, and so it'll be interesting to see how he comes along after missing most of the, if not all, most of the regular season, obviously after November. But like I said, I mean, I'm absolutely, like, I'm thankful that Patrick Kane didn't sign because of, like I said, the players like, you get Hellenuss, you got Olsen, you got plenty of players that are in Rochester, I think, are ready to come up, like you said last week. And you got so much talent on
Well,
that could
you know,
fit here.
Kulik. Well, the thing is, Kulik was on his way to really being an impact player. In 24-25, he had 15 goals in 62 games. So he was ready to make that jump. And then the injury hit this year. And then, you know, I mean, hopefully the blood clots are left behind him, because that's a tough thing to get rid of. You know, so because the thing about blood clots is you are put on, in some cases, in a lot of cases, you are put on blood thinners. And if you're put on certain blood thinners, there's no way he can play. And then when you come off the blood thinners, then it's like, okay, do they come back? So you have to go through an extended period from when you're taken off of certain blood thinners. Do the blood clots come back? And as of right now, it's, you know, it seems like it's all systems go. But if he could come back and duplicate his 24-25 season, maybe somehow get to 20 goals, I would be all for that. You know, because he's a center with some size. At 6'1", 195 pounds. So, but at only 22 years old, he still has so much in front of him. But he's definitely one of the big keys, along with Oslin and Hellenuss.
Yeah, and so again, it's we can wait and see approach. Again, it's the off season's not over with, so
no,
I mean, they got about another couple months till their training camp starts. So again, it's a lot of this is depending on this trade, that because Hellebuck does not want to be in Winnipeg for sure. He does not want to, you know, and that's and what's difficult. EPL doesn't want to be there.
How can you be enthusiastic to go back to a team that's been wanting to trade you? Wow, it'll be rough, but it seems like the Sabres are dug in and the Jets are dug in, and you know, so.
But I would not be surprised if there's a third team, like you get a three-way trade, basically somewhere. Where UPL could go to a certain place, and then we get Hellebuck, and then like Winnipeg gets a couple players here or there. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, you have the Sabres, and then I've heard the Carolina Hurricanes mentioned. I've heard the San Jose Sharks mentioned, and so. But again, the Jets seem to be dug in on what they're looking for. And in one case, I don't blame them, but I heard Marty Baron, whose son was at the Sabres developmental camp, by the way. If you really want to feel old right now, Martin Baron's son was at the Sabres developmental camp not too long ago. Happy July to everybody. But he stated, what? Yep. But the thing is, Marty Baron was saying that the Jets possibly could have overplayed with him. And I mean, it looks like that they have, and now they're stuck. because the Sabres aren't going to give up as much as the Jets think that they're going to give up.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yarmo's not no.
No, he's
Definitely
not.
not a pushover.
But the major thing to remember here is you have to replace 33 goals from Tuck. Say like they trade,
Yeah.
I don't know, pick a guy. Let's just say Ryan McLeod. That's 14 goals he scored last year. He had 54 points. Not a bad season. And that's now 47 goals that you have to replace and that you hope that the kids can make up for that. So, and if you trade Jack Quinn, that's 20 goals, 20 more goals. So I get what the Jets are trying to do, but the fact here is this: nobody seems to be buying what you want. Okay, so now it's more or less get the best deal that you can, and get the best deal that you're able to get. Because if they don't nail the Connor Hellebuck trade, they're going to be crucified in the media, to say the least.
Yeah, because it feels like that they did nothing, which they didn't really sit down their hands. They made a lot of trades before the draft, and they got pretty good defensive players. They didn't lose Bo Byram for nothing. They didn't lose Alex Tuck for nothing. They didn't, and they re-signed Zach Benson. I believe they re-signed the Krebs, which we were worried about that, but.
Yeah, well, and they got a pretty good deal for Krebs, and they signed Olin Zellweger, so he's kind of replacing Bo Byram. We'll have to wait to see what he does.
Very underrated move, if you ask me. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he plays well this year.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it. I mean, he doesn't have to match Bo Byram, but if he can be effective enough and play well, and then of course we have Louis Crevier, who I'm really interested in seeing. So so again, I mean, if you're the Jets and you have Connor Hellebuck, yes, you're trying to maximize as much of that as you possibly can. If you're the Sabres or you're Carolina or you're San Jose, you're trying to make a trade that obviously benefits your team. You're not going to be the one to give up too much to get it. So it's a give and take. And I'll tell you, the player it's probably going to be the key to the season. And I hate to say this, it is Josh Norris.
Yeah,
I mean, he is like the ultimate wild card in all of this. As if they can get, if honestly, if they can get a season out of him, because last year he did play 44 games. He did score 34 points. So if you take that and you make it an 80-game season, you're looking between like 60 and 70 points for the season. And if they can get that kind of production out of Josh Norris, I think the Sabres will definitely make the playoffs. Right now, they're fringe.
Yeah.
Right now, they're another fringe.
A lot of it's the question is the forward. Like, again, we know what Thompson can do, and definitely we know what Doan and Benson can do, and Krebs can do it. Just the question is, can Josh Norris stay healthy? Can he play at least, again, with an 84-game season, I would say, can you play 75 out of the 84? And,
well, that's a big ask. Because, and like you said, 84 games this year, not 82. Yep. They expanded it by 2 games. So, so now, can they get 70?
Mm-hmm.
Can they get 65 to 70 games out of him? I mean, I would be satisfied with that. Maybe get 50 points out of him. But yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, how can some players, and I always think of a guy by the name of Steve Larmer, way back when, maybe before. I don't know, but he played like 900 consecutive games in the NHL. Just an absolute workhorse. And then there's players like that just can't stay healthy for whatever reason. You know, I don't know, but Josh Norris is definitely one of the keys. If they could somehow unload his contract, that would be a blessing. But I don't think there's going to be any takers, and the Sabres are stuck with it. So they're looking at the next 4 years, including this year, at $7.9 million, and that's way too much.
Yeah, that is for sure for a guy that, again, like you said with the when we were talking about the Bills' defense availability. You know, you got to be in any sport. It's any sport availability, and can you do it, especially in all sports. That's what it is, really, when it comes down to. So, it is. So
yeah. I mean, if he can somehow put together a 65-game season and give us maybe 20 to 25 goals, I would be jumping for joy. You know, but again, you have to be able to stay on the ice for that.
Yeah, it's but like I said, it's a blessing. I think, again, Kane not signing here is a blessing in disguise. So now it's like I said, it's the wait and see approach of the Connor Hellebuck saga. That's what I'm going to call it. It's a saga right now. So
yeah, and you know what? I would not be surprised if Yarmo took the first round pick next year, package it up with a player, UPL, and then sent them to the Jets for Connor Hellebuck, or they could trade for a top 6 forward. You never know. I mean, Murka is a kid that's just sitting there who keeps being mentioned in trade rumors.
Yeah.
To package your first rounder next year, Murka, and see what you can get, you know, as far as like a top 6 forward if you can. But, you know, I mean, a lot of this is cat and mouse.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, there is an event going on in August 29th, a free clothing and book bag giveaway plus basket raffle. That's on August 29th, 13 Dempster Street in Buffalo, New York, 14206, and that. So that's it. And plus Mixed World is tomorrow too at 7:00. So we'll see you next.
Hi, Mick.
Talk about the